Of the most fascinating topics, that a common challenge that many men encounter in life is the straightforward query of what's happening. This is something that many people think about. Men have devoted their lives to comprehension, and they frequently overthink it to the point that it becomes an obsession of some sort. Maybe you discovered this video while you're pondering the same query. Thankfully, we disprove these claims today by examining some of the most significant psychological aspects of women that I must be certain that you will notice. That you encounter in the video many aha moments where you could recognize something or see the dating planet from a very different perspective of clarification. So be sure to stay, making sure you don't miss any of these truths that will undoubtedly make you happy, shocked to learn how basic ladies are in reality are. But let's first respond to a really crucial query that both men and women must answer. Think differently, one of the largest. The distinctions between men and women are frequently the method of thought they use to assist them in resolving various issues. Ladies are infamously sentimental, while males are frequently more sensible, yet this tendency appears to have changed as well. And these days, there are rational ladies and more. The cause of emotional men's behavior is truly impacted by a number of various details, one of which is hormones that are often produced by women. Elevated estrogen and estrogen levels frequently results in a lack of confidence. This naturally causes one to think differently, process more sentimental, full-hearted males of testosterone frequently have more self-assurance, and because they perceive themselves as self-assured, they frequently take a leadership role, but it even more profound than this, and even traceable, returning to a tiny area of the brain. The amygdala, as it is known, is in charge of taking in all the information and spreading it all over. In general, the brain's weaker, emotional. This is the first response from the right side. Both men and women experience this phenomenon. However, women frequently respond to the information provided by the emotive or right side men's side of the brain instead, frequently watch for K to enter from the left side, and this rational side determines their subsequent moves, which is why the majority of people assume that women and men think differently. Fortunately, women have some fascinating facts that you would know if you were sooner time would have made life so much easier. Simpler for you. So come along as we reveal 11 crucial psychological aspects of women who will alter your viewpoint and how people view the dating industry. Women are more emotional than men. Having thoroughly examined this section already, we will keep it short while you comprehend the rationale behind this thing that is useless to describe. For women, this is just information. You perceive women to take advantage of, are significantly more sensitive than men, and they also have a propensity to act impulsively and frequently unpredictable choices. This is anything you'll need to learn how to dwell with, and the problem is that there is nothing you can do about this actually. But rather than indulge in her thinking patterns and emotional games, you can just watch and let the circumstance to unfold on its own. This is when you intervene and make sense recommendations. In order for a woman to have an emotional reaction to knowledge things, you lack the ability to alter your response, and that it could be the most, must simply take a step back and bide their time till women number 2 in the storm to subside. I adore a man who seems like a hardcore person. Probably surprise a few of you, but severe emotional harm, and enormous women find masculinity to be quite attractive. Women adore a man who exudes strength and powerful, and someone who other people would be afraid of while they are in the same space. This is also very close to a lot of psychological issues, and it's not. The majority of women love a damaged, yes, guy. They may claim that I'm not interested in a man who has experienced trauma. However, their biological desire is to become the nurturer. If this man radiates too much, She will desire to alter her macho behavior. This isn't an excuse for you to can into a poisonous individual, as this facade fades over time. And if the male doesn't make adjustments to better himself, and women will ultimately outgrow attempting to assist him, so she could discover a broken man is incredibly alluring they also outgrow this stage at an earlier age, don't eventually turn into the man she must avoid leading a harmful lifestyle. Thirdly, they adore a man who plays numbers 2 and 3 are difficult to obtain. If you follow this list, you'll observe how women adore a man who performs difficult to obtain, much like males enjoy a good chase. Women adore it as well, and this is frequently why forming new relationships is so enjoyable and produces a sense of ambiguity. You witness a woman's feelings fully confident and safe in she doesn't actually have any relationships. The rationale for being healthy, unless, despite being a millionaire, your assets will give her enough reason to maintain her loyalty, but the majority of women actually adore when a man just plays hard to obtain. But the game shouldn't appear as though you should live your life as it is being played. Organically arranged in a manner that you're concentrating on some crucial items that give the impression that you're playing a hard-to-get-once game. When you get the hang of it, you should see some strong attraction between you two, and this could be a means to ignite even the fourth draw, is that she doesn't want you to commit completely by this point. Ought to have recognized this pattern, but women enjoy playing with fire, frequently desire to live on the edge, whilst she claims that she must be completely. She is devoted and doesn't want you, repeatedly reminding her that this demonstrates your insecurity, and frequently anticipate that she will do the same in return. Phrases to keep you safe: yeah, you should never engage in any behavior that adultery, but you should never force her to feel sufficiently at ease that since there is no possibility, this indicates that stay in shape and prioritize yourself, is really appealing, and it will keep her alert all the time as she is after you because of some of the earlier aspects in this video that you ought to discovered by now, that it is really crucial to keep her wondering and to verify if she is paying attention to you this is always what creates the attractiveness and permits the partnership to keep thriving. At number 5, women frequently engage in games that make fun of you. If they feel the same way about you, recall women at school often make fun of guys. They think this trend is quite appealing, doesn't cease simply because you see, they've grown into adults. She uses teasing as a fantastic method to push your limits and possibly look for some of your personal boundaries ready to cry every time for her. She's testing you when she teases you. If you react too strongly to these tests, you'll frequently lose some of the allure that she could have had you before you entered. Engaging in encounter teasing is a fantastic method to determine your partner's identity and the extent of when a lady teases them, they can push them. It's best to simply comply and not overreact most of the time. She's just enjoying herself. But when she notices that you have unwavering confidence, return once more to a state of honoring you, which frequently seals the partnership that you would like to establish, certain that the partnership is safe for. However, you both want her to be able to be herself and play your games. Men will understand that at first, this will eventually run its course, and after it has eventually, you'll return to being in command and direction of the partnership. At this point, many weak men frequently falter, and because of their emotional responsiveness, they frequently exaggerate and go into a condition of their choosing. To respond to this on an emotional level, this will be extremely offensive to women and can detrimentally affect your connection. Number 6, women's advancement and future are more susceptible on an emotional level, although many men frequently have a powerful woman in their lives. Some guys decide to include a figure in their lives, pursue the masculine route to such an extent to which they adopt some of the lessons from the notorious Romanian influencers there, along with his brother. There is some truth to what Mr. Andrew says. It's more like his brother, Tate. Tristan's treatment of women demonstrates to men how, when dating, the goal is to be extremely manly, but also to expose the women desire a gentle and compassionate side. To see, since they are inherently, you don't want your vulnerability to increase, to become as hard as a rock as a lady and grow more manly, as well as to cease. You'll have to let her rant about this, her feelings, and to frequently provide her some support. This also implies that when speaking with ladies you're not interested in, speak louder or engage in any needless disputes. You wish to display says you possess a strong masculinity side that will sustain and safeguard her, but she is still allowed to rant as she pleases. Even if you don't understand some of her feelings, had any definitive responses to some of her concerns, the goal is to comprehend that if you do, she will become more emotional. Comprehend something similar to her love language simultaneously. This will be better. However, this might be really difficult for certain males to comprehend. Additionally, if you want to see a video about this topic, be sure to inform us in the comment area underneath. Honoring the personalities and mannerisms of one another is something that will produce excellent outcomes, rather than using a bulldozer like a manly disposition that frequently fades away as fast as the spark. Number 7. Ladies don't anticipate to pay. Thus this subsequent one could receive a bit more animosity from some of the viewers, particularly those from a more feminine essence. But the unpleasant reality: do women just hate saying goodbye, or distributing their resources to other people aside from their immediate family and some of their closest pals? Sadly, this implies that you must be the one who shares the most resources, and this is also anticipated. Additionally, requires you to pay specifically for the initial dates up until the anything substantial that you wish to create. She also makes an investment in you, and this is when you must ultimately decide that moving forward, it is necessary to divide things. The notion is that you would like her to allocate a portion of her funds to the partnership, which guarantees that she's investment, since we automatically provide focus on items that have a connection to our resources. But on the first date, ladies may offer to pay. However, they don't anticipate becoming the ones doing so if they must make a check payment on the first date. You may observe that they never call you again, or that your relationship may have changed. Where she feels more in charge of the relationship, you wish to avoid at all costs putting her in a situation where she must assume the manly duty of this might negatively impact the relationship, and ultimately she will look for a companion who provides her with the feeling of being cared for like a princess. She wants to feel like number 8. Have you ever had a princess thought? Second, the reason why women are always focused on dressing like a princess, particularly when they're having a good upbringing, makes women much more prone to fantasy, and they frequently wear those fairy tale goggles as a child, which allow them to view the world from an alternative perspective, where they picture themselves as princesses who are rescued by the monarch or prince. For him, this fantasy takes a unconsciously gaining ground and causing her want this all the time, which also guarantees that she is looking for a partner, possessing attributes that can make her feel. Fortunately, being a princess, natural gentleman without coercion, anything ought to be more than sufficient for guys must actively contribute to this fantasy. Whenever you begin to concentrate on this fantasy that every woman possesses, you will be able to shift in your approach. When dating today, remember that a lot of women select the rebellious aspect of life. However, this does not imply that the dream has diminished, which only indicates that her prince has become somewhat more disobedient. Additionally, it's because of this that getting to know someone through observation is so vital, that allows you to locate, Find out what motivates her to improve her life. Recognize what DRI individuals. You can summarize it up into the abbreviation RI. This will teach you that every individual on the earth is either motivated by reward, ego, coercion, or dogma after you can determine the primary motivating reason. It should be that much for an individual, simpler to include into their particular fantasy. Now realizing the people's motivations are very complex, and if you want us to produce a film about, please let us know how rice works. There are 9 women in the comments. Innately experience more hearing sensations. As a man, this could help you think that a lady can be nearly touched in any location, and she will experience greater feelings. However, this relates to what you can see physically. Women typically experience even more intense emotional. Additionally, sensations, which is among the explanations for their excessive sentimental in some circumstances. Ideally, you wish to make use of the data from the prior and subsequent advice as a means to contact a few of her feelings and to make sure to leave a visible mark on her life. Remember that you ought to concentrate on creating a legacy that lasts and recollection of you in her life, if you desire for her to develop an obsession with you. Lastly, it's important to note that women have greater feelings than guys in a lot of several aspects that also include the adverse aspects of life every time you encounter. Failure could be painful, but if a woman encounters the same setback, that she becomes passionately fixated on this, and this is frequently the thing that can harm her. Number 10. She anticipates that you will initiate contact. Although society is gradually evolving, and given that women's empowerment is promoted on social media, and men in many societies frequently believe that nowadays women feel at ease taking the first motion. However, this isn't the case. Yet despite everything, she still believes that you will be the one to make the first action that captures her attention, since we've previously stated that she wishes to feel as though the victim, and she desires for you to be the hunter. Every woman, no matter how she is still powerful or successful, wants this, which is why some men achieve considerable success with ladies, regardless of their financial situation and socio-economic standing. But after, by pursuing her, you have captured her attention, anticipates that you will take a seat back, and she begins pursuing you at this point. Now that you've shown her who and what she now desires to be the one making an attempt. To convince you of the significant issue with, in today's world, the majority of males frequently lack patience, and this turns into impossible if you believe that relationships are difficult because of all various moving components. You ought to only simply pause for a few moments to process the details and observe her conduct. Thankfully, women will demonstrate what they have: a strong yearning for. Number 11. Women. Finally, one of the reasons is that I detest boredom. We frequently advise you to make sure that you maintain a stable life and that there should be one where you can invite someone in. Is it true that some women detest boredom? Of them will express their desire to stay at home for a while, but they also desire a life filled with adventure, and you must be the individual who is able to supply this. If you have some close friends, she will adore it. You're invited to do stuff with your buddies. Her goal alongside your friends will be to become a portion of this, which enables her to view who you are as seen through the eyes of women you care about, aspire to be friends with people they have faith in, and this is only to check on you and what. Yes, this does indicate what other people think of you. Thing has the power to greatly influence her. The views of others, however, this will return to you if you have any devoted, and women who are close friends may appear complex, and men may have overstated this to a certain extent, but simply being who you are and concentrating more on you will frequently assist in drawing more than others. Her in, but be careful while drawing. you know how to keep her enthusiastic. By seeing a few of the additional films,